Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you can see and hear me. Thank you so much for being here once again. For those who don't know, my name is Connor Kelly O'Brien. I am the co-founder and executive director of the Scranton Fringe Festival, and I'm going to be your host tonight for Fringe Focus, our weekly chat show where we talk to leaders in the creative and cultural community. Thank you for joining us. We're here almost every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching it live, please comment below with any comments, questions, greetings for our wonderful special guests. Before we bring in our guests, I just wanted to do two quick housekeeping things on behalf of Fringe in general. Please, as a reminder, our Fringe Festival on Animal Crossing, our mini arts festival via Animal Crossing, is next weekend, Friday, February 26th through Sunday 27th. Did I do that right? I did that right. Friday the 26th through Sunday the 28th, excuse me. Please tune in for that, or if you can't watch it live, tune in after the fact. Porch Fest, a big local project that we are producing in Northeast Pennsylvania. Today we've hit 75 registrations for homes or businesses. Please go to scrantonporchfest.com. We've created its entire own website to give it special attention, scrantonporchfest.com. If you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to talk about that later in the show, or just drop us a line and we'll get to that later. And applications for Fringe Under Glass will open Friday, March 5th. I did have an email today. I'll get back to you, my friend, very soon. Applications, as per our press release, go live Friday, March 5th. Okay, housekeeping out of the way. I am super excited to welcome our special guests, Tannis and Jess of the Farm Arts Collective. The Farm Arts Collective is a farm-based community hub where art and performances intersect with agrarian and ecological ideas. They focus on 4 pillars of life-sustaining practices. Is it obvious I'm reading this? Farming, theater, food, and ecology. I'm not going to butcher their mission statement anymore. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Tannis and Jess. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. How are you two doing this evening?
Great.
Very well, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes,
Of
thank you
course.
very much.
Of course. You are both Scranton Fringe alum. We're super happy to have you here. Before we dive into anything too specific, and I just gave a very brief first paragraph from your mission statement on your website, for our friends who may not be familiar with your work, can you give us a little bit of the history of the origin, the mission? What does Farm Arts Collective do?
Sure, I'll start, and then Jess, you fill in the things that I've forgotten, and maybe you can even talk about some of our programs, but I can give like a kind of, you read the mission. We are a what we call an agricultural organization. Yeah, because we are on a farm. We're on a farm, our farm called Will-O-Wisp Organic Farm, which is a 30-acre vegetable and flower farm that employs a lot of people in this area in Damascus. We've got probably about 20 people working here in the high season, all local folks. And I, apart from growing flowers on the farm, I'm a theater maker. And so I was working for a long time with NACL Theater in New York City and in upstate New York in the Catskills. And it was just time to kind of bring everything to the farm for me personally. And I also felt like in that community I was serving that it would be an interesting kind of intersection to have theater on the farm. I mean, it was just like this vision to start bringing that kind of agricultural world with a theater and performance world together. So that's what the adventure is. And so we have this 30 by 70 theater / greenhouse on the farm where we have our performances and our rehearsals, workshops, community events. It's a nice big space. Right now, it's not heated, so we're actually working in an office space and a rehearsal space in Narrowsburg, New York, at a really wonderful place called The Union, which is a multi-use building for business and not-for-profits. Mm-hmm. And we have this is our 3rd year in existence. We have about 20 to 30 people, artists that we work with. Many living nearby, but some as far away as Japan and Canada and Nigeria, people who work with us on our performances. And of course, right now, because of the weather and because of COVID, we're doing a lot of work virtually on our next performance. So you can talk maybe a little bit, Jess. I'll pass the baton to you and talk about just like kind of the work we're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Jess, and I have been working with Tannis for about 4 years now. I also work with her on Will-O-Wisp Organic Farm with the flowers in the high season. And the work that we are doing now, we are doing it over Zoom, and we meet every Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. And we are building our annual show, our annual performance called Dream on the Farm. And it is an eco-drama that is set on Will-O-Wisp Organic Farm. And last season, we broke the audience down into 5 different pods of 12 people because of COVID. So we had a limited audience, and they walked around different spots on the farm and experienced different scenes from our ensemble. Most of the scenes were 1-person or 2-person scenes. All of the actors, we were wearing masks, and we were very conscious of all of the COVID rules and all of that stuff. And we still had a successful season. The community came out and really enjoyed it. And this is like an immersive theater experience where you go around to different spots on the farm and you view different scenes. So that's what we're working on building right now over Zoom. And the way we do that is we get prompts every week. So we bring in some material off of these prompts and we share it with the other ensemble members. And we start to collect all of this material and build off of that. And when it gets warmer out, we'll be able to meet outside and rehearse safely outside.
If, with your permission, I'm going to try to share your trailer on screen sharing.
Yes, please.
I tend to have a bad luck when it comes to video tech, but we'll see how it works. And here we go. Perfection. That never happens that well.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Wonderful.
Thank you for sharing that.
So a lot of the work we're doing right now, we're calling eco-dramas. That's the work on the farm. Dream on the Farm is going to be an annual event. It will always be called Dream on the Farm, and it will always have an ecological be an eco-drama, a piece about our relationship to the world, to the natural world, but also to one another. So something we're playing with this year is climate change and changing climate, because the world is changing really quickly before us. We're living in a really quickly changing world, socially, economically, politically. And so I want to really, I work with a team of writers. All the actors create their own material. I mean, I'm the artistic director of the project, but everyone's collaborating together. And so what we're looking at are those 2 things this year: is climate change and a changing climate, and how those kind of parallel each other.
Fascinating. Speaking, you kind of touched on this before when you were referring to Dream on the Farm and the COVID, minded practices and presentation methods you had to use. What has COVID, and I know this feels like such a trite question at this point, but how have you felt that your company has responded to the challenges presented by COVID? What concepts or philosophies have proven wonderful for you, and how have you had to pivot your work?
I think we're so lucky to have a venue that's outdoors.
Yes, yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
You're one of the few groups that I know that kept a season.
Yep.
We kept our season this year of workshops, that were, we work once a week as an ensemble in our rehearsals. So yes, we were doing Zoom in the winter months. Last year, after we realized February that we had to be not, in contact with one another, we stayed on Zoom. And then we met in May because we could outdoors and inside our greenhouses, which are open, airy spaces with a roof, so we were able to do that and keep our work going. And we just focused so much of our attention on figuring out how to build a performance that we could have small audiences. So we, like as Jess mentioned, we divided our audiences into groups of 12, and then they were led around, or was it 15? I can't remember, 12 or 15.
Yeah, 12 to 15, we'll say, yeah.
And they were led around, and so the poor actors had to perform their scenes per show 5 times. That was hard.
Rehearsals. It was great.
We at Fringe know that pain. That frustration. We were just for Fringe Under Glass, I think they had to do it 5 to 6. It depended on how the groups, and it was very similar. It was like 10 to 12 people per group. We tried to give them as many breaks as possible, and so it was still, in terms of total time, about the average length of a typical performance, maybe even a little shorter. But the repetition and the idea that it has to be just as good, just as high energy every single time can prove very challenging. Have you found, when we were developing Fringe Under Glass, something that was a big deal for us artistically and just sheer joy to the audience, was that we didn't want to do anything that wouldn't have been enjoyable even if COVID wasn't happening. There was a big, part of it, like, we understand we have to adapt. This might be a little uncomfortable, but we're tired of artistic compromise. So let's lean in.
You're freezing a little bit, Connor. So you've kind of frozen in your screen, just so you know. I thought this only happened to us in Damascus.
Look at that.
I'm going to chat with him.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
You are. You're back.
That has never happened before, but since we got away with the video, this is what I got.
There you go. Trade-off.
I apologize. Let me repeat the question.
Yeah, sure.
I was discussing that Scranton Fringe, for us, it was always important that we try and do it as enjoyable and artistically and creatively fulfilling for artist and audience as much as we would, even if it wasn't with dealing with COVID. We wanted to make it something that wasn't lame, wasn't something they wouldn't have enjoyed. Otherwise, it just happens to be the method we have to produce the work right now. Did you have a similar approach, or was this the work you would have presented anyway, but just, under harder restrictions?
Yeah, I think it was the work we would have presented anyway. However, there was a theme that was really, I think, interesting, that the theme of extinction emerged. Right. Because, people were dealing with mortality. We are dealing with a serious mortality with these kinds of diseases and viruses. And so that became a focus in the performance, was like, talking about mass extinction. And so I think it was had its effect on the performance, feeling like looking at mortality and our lives and how we're relating to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You touched on it before, but I just wanted to clarify and to give people a chance to reach out to you, that if you are interested in joining your virtual expanding ensemble weekly rehearses, it says here to email you, Tannis, correct?
Yep, there it is. There's my information.
Contact Artistic Director Tannis at farmartscollective.org. And truly, what if someone out there has never really, doesn't think they're really the creative type, or hasn't ever performed before an audience? What would you say to that person?
I would say, most people who are getting in touch with us generally have some kind of desire to perform.
Something, yeah.
So, you don't have to have performed, on a professional stage. It's not, that's not the requirement, but some desire to perform, and to tell stories, and to use your body and your voice and your imagination to invent something. I mean, we're devising the work, so
we're creating it. Yeah.
There's no one gets handed a character or a script.
Right.
We're building it as we go. So what do you say, Jess? How would you respond to somebody who says, "Oh, I'm kind of interested, but I've never acted before"? What would you say?
I would say that if you even have that little spark of interest in just by scrolling through what we have, I think that you should come and check it out, and something will be opened up for you, or maybe something will spark, or you'll say, "Oh, I want to learn more about that." I think anything, you push yourself to do is worth doing, and it's usually a pretty great outcome. And if nothing else, you'll meet a bunch of really great people and have fun watching everyone's material, But I would totally say, if you even have a spark, to come check it out, to come check out a Zoom rehearsal and see how we work and what we're all about. And if you have anything to put into that, we're welcome to it.
And don't forget, the work that we're doing too, Connor, is totally interdisciplinary. I mean,
exactly.
We are working with stilt walking. We're working with composing music. We're working with vocal music.
Right.
Acting, schmacting, your classic actors are welcome, but also physical theater performers, dancers, people who are doing clown, people who are doing puppetry, people who are doing that kind of work. So so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So one more time for everyone watching, if you're interested, you can go to farmartscollective.org, or if you're ready to jump in and dive in, or even though you have a few questions, please email Tannis, Tannis, at farmartscollective.org. If you're watching this live, everyone, Fringe Focus, we have Tannis and Jess from the Farm Arts Collective. Please comment below with any questions. Maybe we went through something really quickly, or maybe you're tuning in a little late. Happy to backtrack. Before we move on to another topic, I wanted to touch on something that, in addition to all your work, was very of the times, shall we say, in tandem with the election season. I'm just going to keep vamping until I can get it up on screen. There we go. You're Delivering Democracy, Election Street Theater. This is a photo that was featured in the New York Times. Can you tell us a little bit about this image?
Sure. So a friend of mine, Larry Bogad, who you see on the right in this picture, is holding the vote sign. Mm-hmm. He is a radical theater, street theater performer and professor at UC Davis in California. And he has been doing political street theater and agitprop theater for a long time, going out and doing just demonstration theater. And so this was his version. He wanted to propose a get out the vote, a nonpartisan get out the vote campaign with theater folks that he knew around the country. And he reached out to me. He knew I had an amazing group of folks that we work with, Farm Arts. So he reached out to me and he said, "Would you guys be interested in doing this with this campaign?" And I said, "We absolutely would." I think Scranton, and performing in Scranton and Honesdale, we really wanted to focus on Pennsylvania because it was such an important state in the election, as we know.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we did. So we built these mailboxes from a design, and there we are. And we got out. There we are in Scranton. You missed us, Connor.
Yeah.
I did. I definitely did. As our audience may know, we were interviewing. We had Pissy Miles, the impeachment drag queen herself, interviewing elected officials and activists, and we were getting, you were getting in the New York Times, and we got in Vogue. We were all just
nice. Awesome.
So, a little bit of humble brag there, but I'm much more envious of you and your dancing mailboxes. Please continue.
So we even there was this campaign that Taylor Swift did, a Get Out the Vote campaign, and we even got into her video that got
very nice.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
So yeah.
And just to touch on that for a second, because we're all, and that's not what it's about. And I think we all know that doesn't necessarily put, dough in the artist's pockets and support programs necessarily. But there is something really cool about seeing your work recognized at a national level. So that last photo we featured on the New York Times or Taylor Swift, or when we were working with that drag queen and got into Vogue, magazine, what makes that moment so special? What really, for you, does that elevate your awareness? Does it give your artist something to kind of cling to? What does that mean to you as a theater maker when you see that kind of national level attention?
It just, my mom saw us in Vancouver. She was like, I saw the mailboxes. That wasn't you, was it? I said, it was, Mom.
Oh, that's amazing.
So hilarious. It makes me laugh. Like somebody said to me, you've worked so hard your whole life and you're getting in like on ABC morning edition or whatever from this, but I was like, who cares? It's great.
So great. Yeah.
That is, I think also that you touched on is super important, that it's not, it's not what it's about, but it's wonderful and it is meaningful. And it does, I think it also gives more than it raises, that much awareness out there. We found locally, regionally, it gave our artists who had nothing to do with that appearance and that coverage, it gave them a little bit of, creative self-esteem, just to know that it might not be my show that got that attention, but an organization I work with is reaching those voices, even if it's rarely, even if it's only once a year, and or the Washington Post or something like that. And I think that you said something so. I lost my train of thought. Continue, please.
No. I think that what you're saying too is about affirmation is really important for artists.
Yes.
Everybody needs to have some affirmation. And so that's what it is. And it's not going to change. I'm not going to just keep doing dancing mailboxes from the next years.
That's what I was trying to say.
Get in the paper again,
Right.
But something you said before, that was the train of thought I lost. You had this, if I had given you a crystal ball and said in 2020, in the next 3 years, something that you're going to be working on, a theater piece, a performance piece, is going to get huge attention. Like you said, this was not the one you would have guessed. This is not what would have reached that. And I think that's the beautiful thing about you really don't know. That sounds cliche, but if you put it out there and you give it 100%, no matter how silly or irreverent it might seem to you, you never know how the work is going to resonate with someone else.
Yeah, this definitely captured some attention. Don't forget, it was a time when a lot of world press was out looking for stories in swing states. And so it was an interesting time.
We talked about that a few weeks ago on the show with Glynis Johns from the Black Scranton Project. There was, which in a weird way, I miss moving back from Scranton full-time from Manhattan. I miss New York, but in a way, both personal and professional, I was so happy to be here at that moment, that day. It was the most bizarre. I'm not sure, were you in Scranton on Election Day proper, or did you come the day before?
We were the day or there the weekend before.
Okay.
Yeah.
The day of in downtown Scranton with our drag queen host, interviewing Senator Casey, interviewing the mayor, interviewing activists, and interviewing one or two people from, what you would not assume would be our obvious spectrum. And I mean, everyone decked out, socially distant in, political apparel, CNN, an Israeli news team, Spanish news team, on one corner, and then an actual low-flying plane dragging a vote for the person who did not win this election up above, and trucks going by. I mean, it was the most surreal moment, and it was that kind of moment where it was like, even though I knew it was really happening, you had to stop for a second and be like, this isn't. As a theater artist, it was such pageantry that had such a real-world impact, and I just remember being like, and it was interesting because people watching this ceremony, this theater, this pageantry, it was fascinating because for a lot of people, it was like the first time they really felt that, whatever you want to call it, whatever that energy, momentum is. So I thought it was so wonderful. And you were obviously a huge part of that because I was seeing, I forget what I was doing. I couldn't come down and say hello, but I was seeing, your mailboxes popping up across my social media feed. It actually, I think, took me about 10 minutes. I just saw them like, oh, awesome. I'm glad people from Scranton are taking notice. And then I saw one photo. I'm like, oh my God, they're in Scranton. And I forget something was going on. I must have been booked elsewhere. But is there any particular, did you have any not so pleasant interactions as a mailbox?
No, I think we got a couple people yell at us.
Yeah, horns honking, flags flying, but nothing that made, at least for me, nothing that made you feel like,
People are so adamantly against the concept of a postal system.
Right. That was the thing. Like, how could you be mad? Like, I remember Larry saying that, like, how could you be mad at a dancing mailbox? So yeah.
It was a very clever, a great thing, because you couldn't get mad at a dancing mailbox. There wasn't a political, we weren't really saying anything like that was partisan.
No, we just wanted to say, like, vote, go vote. This is how you can do it. And we were handing out information on exactly how you could do it. So
and it kind of lightened it up a little bit too.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. Yeah, we were reading bills, and yeah, no doubt it lightened it up. But we got information out, so that's important. Yeah.
What, for the Farm Arts Collective, what would you like to see 2021 and 2022? And I'm not asking you to reveal any projects you're working on specifically, but what would you like to see be different than 2020? What do you hope either to return to, or what's a new normal you hope to embrace in the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be feeling like we can go somewhere and perform, like that we might get invited out to perform somewhere again, at an event such as, the Fringe, places in Manhattan, and like all the places that we have connections with all over the country and the continent. I mean, it would be really nice to start to like try to make those connections. So I think we will do that. Because something will change. It may not be the same as it always has been, prior to COVID, but I think hopefully we can just kind of get out into the world a little bit more. I think everyone's saying that about their lives. I mean, everyone wants to travel again. Everyone wants to be able to do that. I think I would like to see. I would like to see people knowing about our work and coming out to see it and feeling like that's a destination. They want to come out to see Dream on the Farm this year and next year, and that they understand that that's going to be something that will be a part of the world, the work here on the farm, and like to kind of raise that profile a little bit, as far as like, that's the show we want to see this year. We got to go out and try to see that, and that our neck of the woods becomes a destination. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right. How approximately, for any of our local Scranton-based audience members right now, approximately how far of a drive is it from, the greater Scranton area to the farm? 1 hour and 10 minutes.
I mean,
so for a day out, a night out, maybe a weekend away, that's not a great distance whatsoever. That's less than half the time it takes with traffic to get into Manhattan. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's not that bad. A drive, and there's lots of nice places around the farm where people can eat and stuff like that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice little town. Beautiful.
Have you found your surrounding neighbors and fellow businesses and nonprofits supportive of your work? Say that again? Have you found your neighbors to be supportive in your community of your work and programming?
Oh, yeah. We started in 2018, and the support we're getting is really phenomenal. Between businesses in Northeast Pennsylvania and businesses in the Upper Delaware Valley and on the New York side, because we're both those audiences, because we're just 5 minutes from Callicoon, New York, right? So we're really our audience is literally 100 mile kilometer or mile. Sorry, that showed my Canadian. Kilometer, 100 mile radius from the farm is our audience base.
Fabulous. I'm going to give our listeners watching, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm going to give you one last reminder. Please comment with any greetings, questions, thoughts that you had based on this conversation, or if you are watching this after the fact, or you just want to learn more on your own time, please go to farmartscollective.org, www.farmartscollective.org. Before we go, I wanted to ask you both, as individual human beings, as artists, theater makers, arts administrators, how has the COVID experience, what are your reflections as we're approaching a year of this experience and world, what have you found to be personally the most challenging? And has there been any particular, we kind of ask this every week, has there been any particular self-care practice or just general enjoyable, positive habits that you've fallen into or are trying to fall into?
Well, I know for me, right now, I'm really enjoying doing Bhangra dancing online.
Okay.
I'm learning to dance Bhangra and Bollywood online. And so my whole facility and fluidity with going online to find something and to do something has really shot up. So I'm kind of I'm building my recreation time around things like going to classes online to study things. So that's been a positive. I don't know if I would have done Bhangra without COVID, honestly. It's also the silver lining is there's just a nice. I'm feeling like I'm reaching out to friends and family a little bit more to stay in touch with them because I can't just go out and see them. So there's been a little bit more attention and care to my personal relationships.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. How about you, Jess?
Yeah, I agree with Tannis in that reaching out a little bit more than I would have. And this time of year is a little bit slower for everything as well. So kind of reaching out to family and friends that I haven't spoken to in a while and just saying, hey, how are you doing? And I'm also have made it a goal to read all of the books already on my bookshelf instead of more. Just sit there and then I keep, getting more. So that's a personal goal of mine that I've been working on. And, other things that have just helped is having the Zoom rehearsals every week and working on material and keeping busy with programming, working on the programming for Farm Arts and having a schedule and having, something to do. And that's definitely helpful in times like this.
Phenomenal. I just wanted to give everyone watching live one more final reminder. Please go to farmartscollective.org or find them on Facebook, Instagram. Please visit and support our friends at the Farm Arts Collective. Your work is so incredible and so meaningful and intentional, which is, always, an excellent measurement for art. And if you're interested in participating, please look into their Expanding Ensemble weekly Zoom rehearsals. If you're interested, drop Tannis an email at tannis@farmartscollective.org, tannis@farmartscollective.org. And as Tannis said just a little while ago, remember, you don't have to be a seasoned actor. You could just have that little spark. They're also looking for multiple disciplines, designers, dancers, stilt walkers, physical theater specialists, and so much more. I want to thank, we have a comment from our friend Alicia Grega. Thanks for this. I didn't realize who Farm Arts Collective was. Wonderful. Well, there you go. We got one.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Alicia.
Thank you so much. Yes, no, absolutely phenomenal. And yes, I think this is really wonderful because Tannis, I think several of our Fringe artists and audience members probably remember you from being part of the Scranton Fringe Festival, perhaps through the NACL, and maybe hadn't made the connection to Farm Arts Collective just yet. So I'm really excited to introduce you to our audiences, or for those who absolutely already knew you, to let them know of all the great work you're doing. Please go to farmartscollective.org for more information. My last question for you, my friends, if there would be one word that you could use to describe what you hope 2021 will be, manifest, become, what would it be? This is totally just sprung this on them, audience. If there was one word that you would like to hopefully describe 2021 with in retrospect, what would it be?
Long hugs.
Long hugs, I like it. Wonderful. Jess?
Open.
Very nice. So open for long hugs. Fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you both so much. Thanks everyone for watching. Please tune in next week, 7 p.m. Same channel for our Animal Crossing Fringe Festival, where we're going to be interviewing several of our artists who take part in that weekend. Live audio, but the visuals will all be live streamed from the best-selling Nintendo award game, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Thanks everybody. Talk soon.